Hello and welcome to another episode of the Emigrate Canada CIC News podcast. My name is Monty, and as regular listeners will know, I've spent the last 25 years promoting Canadian immigration all around the world. And I'm here to spread the message that immigrating to Canada is actually pretty easy and very straightforward as long as you have the right information. This is why I made a best-selling guide called Canada Made Simple. It's available all around the world through Barnes & Noble, Amazon and all great booksellers at less than $30. I can absolutely say this is going to be the best $30 you're going to spend in this entire expensive process. You're going to find out exactly how to make your own application straight from the experts. You're going to save literally thousands on so-called migration agents and lawyers' fees, and even if you are planning on using an agent or a lawyer, then find out about the process in detail so you can ask them the right questions at the right times and make sure that your agent is on point. There's also a ton of things you can do yourself to save loads of money on lawyers' fees and to help speed up the process. I cover all aspects of moving to Canada, such as express entry, federal skilled worker, federal skilled trades, Canada Experience Class, work permits, spouse visas, student visas, and troubleshooting an application. And before we move on, you can find out more at canadamadesimple.com. In today's episode, we're going to look at how to calculate your income when looking to sponsor parents, grandparents, or both for that matter, to emigrate to Canada. And put simply, when you apply to sponsor your parents or grandparents, you have to prove that you have enough money set aside either through savings or earnings or dividends or from a gift to meet the income requirements in order to do it. Now, the income requirement does vary for parents and grandparent applicants, depending on the size of your immediate family. Okay, depends on your immediate family, the number of people being sponsored, and of course whether you're sponsoring family members in, say, British Columbia or Quebec. There's going to be a little difference between Quebec and the other Canadian provinces. So the first thing we need to do when working out your income requirements for the PGP visa is actually calculate the size of the family unit right now. And the size of the family unit is based on who you, being the sponsor, are currently supporting in Canada right now, as well as anyone who you are planning to sponsor in the future. This is because the IRCC really want to see that you've got enough funds or enough resources to be able to support yourself, your immediate family, and anyone else who you're looking to bring into the country. And the main reason for this is simply that they want to ensure that anyone coming into the country isn't going to be an immediate financial burden on the state. So then, how do we count family members? Well, for the purposes of the PGP, family members are going to include yourself, obviously, your husband or wife, spouse or boyfriend or girlfriend, common law partner, any dependent children that you have, any dependent children that your husband or wife or spouse or partner has. It's going to include any other person that you previously sponsored in the past for who you are perhaps still financially responsible. It's going to include the parents and grandparents that you want to sponsor, and of course your parents and grandparents' spouse, partner and dependent children, even, and this is interesting, even if they are not coming to Canada with them. Now, do remember that when applying to sponsor your parents or grandparents and any dependent children that they have, if their children are over the age of 22 or not in full-time education, so not considered dependent, they will have to apply for Canadian immigration under a different applicable program. Okay, so how does this all fit together? Well, the IRCC is going to look at your income for the 3 consecutive tax years before you make the application. And they're going to look at your income versus the amount of people in your immediate family unit, as per the calculation for the PGP visa. This is called the minimum necessary income, and it applies to the sponsor, i.e. you, not to your parents or grandparents. Although thankfully they do have a little bit of leeway, which means that perhaps if you can't quite make the minimum necessary income, then you can apply to have your spouse or common law partner as a co-signer to help meet the financial requirements of this undertaking. Now, the minimum necessary income does change each year. It does tend to sometimes fluctuate upwards and downwards, although more often than not, over the course of time, it does increase year upon year. So as of right now, the minimum necessary income for you as the sponsor with a family size of 2 people would be 32,270 Canadian dollars. If you have 3 people in your family unit, it would be 39,672. For 4 people, it's 48,167. For 5 people, it's 54,630. For 6 people, it's 61,613. If there's 7 people, it's 68,595. And for every additional person above 7, it would be an extra 6,985 Canadian dollars. And you might say to yourself, hey, it's pretty easy for me to be able to show this or to be able to demonstrate it. I can either demonstrate it directly from income from my employer, or even in the case of being self-employed, you're going to need to provide your notice of assessment from the Canada Revenue Agency for each of the 3 previous taxation years. Okay, so if you're moving to Quebec, it's always going to be a little bit different because obviously Quebec has more autonomy in terms of its immigration system compared to any of the other provinces. And so in this instance, the main difference is that while the other provinces in Canada require you to go back over the past 3 years, with Quebec, they only require you to demonstrate that you've made the income requirements over the last 12 months. And of course, these income requirements are slightly different as well. So if the family unit consists of 1 person, i.e. you, the sponsor, then you're going to be looking at a basic annual income requirement of $24,602. If there's 2 people, even for example you and a child, or you and your husband or spouse or wife, then that's going to be $33,209. If there's 3 of you in the family unit, $41,001. If there's 4 people, it's going to be $47,156. And if there's 5 people, $52,482. And again, because Quebec is a little bit different, for every person over the number of 5, then it's going to be an extra 5,326 Canadian dollars. And with this PGP application, a lot of people have said to me over the years, hey Monty, I'm making okay money here in my job, but I can't quite meet the income requirements that are being set down by myself. It may be that you live in, your family unit consists of you and your spouse, and that you both work and you both contribute to the family unit and the family life, and that's absolutely fine. So what we do in this instance is bring in a co-signer. So this is where your common law partner or your spouse can submit a form to confirm that they have common law status or spousal status along with the PGP application. Now, it doesn't matter how long you've been together. You could be together for 8 months or 18 years. The IRCC are going to look at the co-signer's income as well for the past 3 years, again if they're outside of Quebec, and for the past 12 months if they're resident in Quebec. Now, the co-signer must meet the same eligibility requirements as you, being the sponsor, and of course they also make a legal agreement or a legal undertaking to financially take care of and support your sponsored parent or grandparent or both for a certain period of time. A co-signer must be at least 18 years old. It must be living in Canada as a Canadian citizen or permanent resident alongside some other criteria. One of the things to remember though is the seriousness of the financial obligation or the financial undertaking that you as sponsor or sponsors will be making in terms of this PGP application. If the original sponsor falls short of financial obligations, both both parties, i.e. you and your co-signer, are held jointly liable. So it's being held jointly and severably liable for the outstanding financial commitments. So it is something to definitely bear in mind. Now, obviously, the application for parent and grandparent immigration to Canada is in-depth, and it is certainly lengthy. And working out your income requirements as far as that PGP application goes is only one small part of a larger or overall process. But don't be dissuaded, because it's actually relatively straightforward and relatively simple, and we'll just go through it in baby steps, point by point by point, until you make a successful application. So do head over to canadamadesimple.com in order to find out more information. Okay, it's been great. Bye-bye.